What's up everyone, Patrick here, welcome back. Moving on to another video dealing with the sine law. So what we got to do is take each of these triangles here, we have to solve for the angle theta in both of them. So starting with this one, notice that the angle theta here, we have another angle which is 60 degrees, then we have this side which is 12 centimeters, we have this side which is 10 centimeters. Also notice that this is an acute triangle, right? It's a non-right angle triangle, so we do have to use the sine law to solve for anything. And notice that in this case we have this angle 60 degrees and we also have the opposite side of 12 centimeters, and then we have this angle theta that we're solving for and we have the opposite side to it, which is the 10 centimeters. And so we could set up ratios. We can go sine of 60 over the 12, right, over the opposite side, is equal to sine of theta, the angle that we're solving for, over the opposite side, 10, like that. And now notice we end up with an equation with one variable to solve for the theta. Another way you could set this up, you could flip these, you could put like 12 over sine 60 is equal to 10 over sine theta, okay? So no matter which way you do it, after we cross multiply, we solve for the theta, you would get the same solution. Usually me personally, I put the angles in the numerators and then the lengths in the denominators, but you could also flip it if you want. Okay, and so now we can solve for this theta. What we have to do is first cross multiply, so we'd have 10. You know what, actually, I'll multiply these two first. So we'll have 12 times sine theta equals 10 times sine of 60. Doesn't matter really which side you put these on, it's just when I isolate for the sine theta, I want to have it on the left side. That's why I chose to multiply it like this. And then from here, what we do is we want to get the sine theta by itself, so we divide both sides by 12. And so continuing this here, what would happen is these 12s cancel out, so we'd end up with sine theta equals this, which is 10 sine 60 over 12. Like that. Now at this point, if you want, you can get the decimal value here. You could just plug all of that in your calculator. I'm going to leave it for now because we're still isolating for that theta. So to get that sine that's attached to theta to the other side, we would do sine of inverse, right? Whenever we're solving for an angle, we're always doing the inverse trig function. So we would have 10 sine of 60 over 12 like that. And when you do that calculation, you'd end up getting theta equaling 46.19 degrees. Okay, so that's what the answer to the first triangle is going to be. That's going to be the value of theta. Now moving on to this second triangle, this one is going to be a little bit more complex. There's going to be more steps because if you notice, the theta that we're solving for right here, we actually don't have this opposite side to it, right? Notice here when we were solving for this theta, we were given the opposite side, so we were able to solve it with one equation in one step. Here we're going to have to do this in multiple steps. Now notice that we do have this 70 degrees and we do have this opposite side to the 70 degrees. So we can set up, for now, we can say, okay, sine 70 over 4, like that. But then we're going to have to make this equal to something. And notice that at this point, if we put sine theta here, well, we don't know the opposite side to it, which we put an x there. And now notice we're going to have two variables in one equation. So unfortunately, we can't do anything to solve for those variables, right? If we have one equation, we can only have one variable to solve for. So we can't do that yet, but what we can do, if you notice, is we can solve for this angle. Let's call it alpha, because we have, if we're solving for this angle, we do have the opposite side to this angle, this 3.2, right there. And so what we can do is we can go, okay, sine of alpha over 3.2, like that. And now notice we have an equation with one variable to solve for. We could solve for this alpha, and then once we solve for the alpha, we can get the theta, because from there, it will just be 180 minus those two angles. We don't even have to get this side x over here. After we solve for the alpha angle here, we'll be able to get that theta because it's just going to be 180 minus those two angles, because the sum of all the angles in any triangle has to be 180. Okay, so it's a little bit more of an indirect route to get to this theta. And so depending on the triangle that you get, sometimes you got to do it in these multiple steps. It's not always going to be directly, nicely given to you like this triangle, where the angle that you're solving for, you're going to have that opposite side. A lot of times that's not going to happen. Okay, so from here, what we could do, cross multiply, same thing. We'll have sine of alpha, and then we'll have 3.2 times sine of 70. And then we want to get this sine of alpha on its own, so we divide both sides by 4, right? The 4's cancel out there, so we end up with sine of alpha equaling 3.2 sine of 70. Right, these are multiplying here, divided by 4. And then we want to get the alpha by itself, so we would do sine inverse of that entire fraction. So we'll have 3.2 times sine of 70. Make sure that when you're plugging this in your calculator, you have this big bracket here, that you are putting this entire fraction in that bracket. And when you do that calculation, you'd get alpha equaling 48.74 degrees, like that. So that's this angle right here. So this angle here is going to be this 48.74 degrees. Well, now notice we got two angles in a triangle, so solving for that third angle, again, it's going to be easy. The theta is just going to be 180 minus the 70 degrees minus the 48.74, and then when you do that, you'd end up with 61.26 degrees, like that. Right, so that ends up being the final answer for this angle, theta. So again, different ways to solve for these angles depending on the triangle that you're given. And that is the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to find more videos like this, you can go to my website, allthingsmathematics.com. Over there, all my courses are organized for both high school and university. All the videos are organized by chapter. Also, if you have any questions, you can hit me up. My contact details are also on the website. Enjoy your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.